Hello and welcome everyone to week 5 of the Tier 1 Can-Am season 9. Looks like we're about to get underway here in Great Britain for round 5, or Silverstone as most people call it. Some tracks are more recognizable by their actual track name or just city versus the country that they're in, but we'll call it Britain Grand Prix instead of Silverstone, or whatever makes sense to you. We have 18 drivers in. We've been trying to get Buda and the Williams in, but it has not worked yet. So from the top down on the left side, as we always do, Lucid Cardiac is Lucid, Vivoda is Vivoda. Seth is a reserve for the second week in a row for Aston Martin. He is Seth. Cloud City is Cloud. Anime Boy is Anime. MK7 Hitch is Hitch. 50 and 07 is Heatley. Alex Carugo is Caruso. Coach Fantasy is Coach. Mini Squatch is Squatch. Final Flame is Flame. Forever Slick is Josh. Mel Gibson is Mel. EXO is Dave or David. The Yuppie is Yuppie. Matt Man is Matt. Dismal Games is Dismal, and Kryptonic Swag is Kryptonic. Now let's see who is out on the track first. I couldn't see what car was what. Looks like it might be one of the Astons. And it is. We'll stay on board with David for a little bit here. And as we do that, we'll go on a broad cam view so that it's a little more quiet. We'll go through some of the standings. So last week, Seth was able to get the sprint win, but no one could dethrone Hitch, who only finished 200ths behind in the sprint race last week, but won in Brazil after Kryptonic took pole. Seth is having connection issues, so we will try to invite him as well as Buda back into the session, and it retired him, and he's starting from the back. That is unfortunate for Seth, but we did have that issue last week with Caruso having to leave and rejoin, and he started from the back and scored a decent amount of points at the end of the race, and I'm sure Seth will be capable of doing that. As we've seen, he's capable of winning races after last week. Our Drivers' Championship, Hitch is in the lead with 108 points, and Heatley and Kryptonic are tied for P2 with 55 points apiece, so not really a battle there. Cloud and Dismal, the McLaren teammates, in 5th and 6th. The Mercedes teammates in 7th and 8th. Gronk missing this race, but tied for 7th. They both are at 22. Flame has 10, Squatch has 9, and then 8, 7, 6, 4, 3, 1 for drivers like Squatch, Yuppie, David, Caruso. And then in the constructors, Alpine is in the lead. Then McLaren is in second, only 20 points behind. So that 108 by Alpine is pretty much all Hitch. So Coach will be looking to contribute to the Constructors' Championship. McLaren looking for a good result, trying to sneak back in. Aston in third with 62. Right behind them is Kick and Red Bull battling for that final podium spot in the Constructors' Championship. Plenty more that I could talk about, but we're going to focus a little bit more on the race now and this qualifying session. As I get a request to invite Seth, we will go do that. Don't see him online currently, so we're going to have to scroll all the way down. Okay, so we should see... Oh, and Buddha did join David with a 127.0. So Buddha is in here. We do have 19 drivers now. Coach with a 27.9. Caruso on an invalid lap and is taking quite the route there. Josh on his lap looks like he's on a quick lap, but you can see all this traffic right in front of him, looking to get a slipstream. Coach and David are the only two to have a lap time so far. This Kryptonic goes a 26.0, good enough for provisional pole by a full second. Matt coming in at a 27.3, Vovoda 27.5, Josh a 27.0. And for now, the kick team is 1-2. Seth will be starting behind everyone that can set a lap here. Let's ride on board with Lucid and pay attention to the left side of your screen as some times are coming in, as Yuppie does break up that kick 1-2 and puts himself in second. Heatley in second as well, but through this first sector, Lucid goes. Screen might be a little weird because sometimes he lags around the track. A 27.2, Sector 1 looks like he missed the apex a little bit, but what do I know? Looks like he has good traction, good exit speed through those couple corners. Into Cops we go. Takes it very well, preserves a lot of speed as we see Cloud come P3. Mel as well with a 127.8 in ninth. Using all the track here, taking a lot of curb. Not sure if that's going to be the fastest way or not, but we'll see when Lucid's ready to cross the line here. Going outside there as we see the 100-meter board slammed out, and Lucid invalidates there with a time that would have put him in the top 4. Unfortunate for Lucid and unfortunate for that 100-meter board, which was completely obliterated. Dismal goes P3. And it looks like Seth is having more issues as he has left the session once again. Williams getting out of the way here for Hitch, who sets a purple Sector 1. See if he can hang on to that through the lap, and then we will send an invite to Seth after this lap ends. Sure, he might pop in the chat and ask for an invite before we end up actually getting there. Through Sector 2, it looks like that the track map is giving him a purple Sector 2. We'll see how true that is here. Coming in through the final sector, the final couple turns for Hitch. Tricky section here, but looks nice. And a 26.1. Gave him all purple sectors, but somehow is not provisional pole. Quite interesting from the game, as we will get another invite out to Seth. We'll go find someone that's on a lap. Squatch through Cops. So we'll go the minimal view. It's giving him a purple Sector 2. They really need to fix that, because I don't think that every sector that I'm on board with someone is purple. Might be purple for against their own personal best, especially when it's the first lap being done, but I don't think that Sector 2 is purple. Squatch to the line. It's going to be a 27.4, which puts him in P10, right between Vovoda and Matt. Pretty close qualifying so far. David in P8 with a 27.0. Don't know if we mentioned that. But from 6th to 14th, less than a second of difference. Let's ride on board with Anime. He does his qualifying lap. A little deep there, short shifting, which is going to cost him a bit on the acceleration. We've seen some 27s, I feel like, in this Sector 1. This is a bit slower in a 28.3. Might have taken a little too much curb into Sector 2. Now drifting a bit wide, but staying within the track limits. Going into Copse Corner. Looks like done nicely. Through a hard part of the track. Again, looks like he does nice as there's a kick just swerving around down the straight here. Traffic gets out of the way. And Anime is going to look for his first lap time. It's going to be a 29.0, which puts him 15th. But we'll see if he can improve before the session ends. Lucid just starting a lap. Caruso on another invalid lap. And Flame looking to finish his lap. Let's see where he can put that V-carb. It's up into P9, right in front of his teammate. And again, this qualifying is so tight that maybe even just 3/10 could see Flame up multiple spots. Lucid looking to go again. We rode on board with his last lap. That was invalid at the very end. Would have been a nice banker to have so that he could feel confident to send it on this lap, but still sending it anyway. So he goes through Agates and Beckett's, and he's through without an invalidating, and seemed like a pretty good sector for him. We're going to see what he can come across the line with. Keeps it valid here. Here's where he invalidated, and a baller just killed the 50-meter breaking point. This might be a good time, and it's just not enough for provisional pole, only by 0.04. Lucid P2 doesn't need a banker to full send. Now Caruso looking to get a valid lap. I think just fired it up on these 1 lap old softs and gets a little loose there. As we do see they are 1 lap old. And let's see what time he can come across the line with. Even though maybe a little bit of a slide there at the end of Sector 2 and maybe a little deep here. Still a decent time though. A 1:26.8 for a lap where we witnessed a couple mistakes from Caruso. Definitely taking his own line here. And now completely invalid. Buddha coming into the pits. Lucid should be coming in as well. Hitch might be starting a lap, or maybe he's coming across the line and finishing a lap. It definitely seems like it with the time, and a 25.8 is going to find him on provisional pole. He's not waiting until the very end this session. He wants to get his time on the board after qualifying 6th in Brazil. It's looking very promising for Hitch to avoid that same qualifying position again. Caruso and Vivoda, the only cars on track right now. Mel coming out. But Vivoda looks to be up on his time. Gets a little loose at the end, but does find himself up. And he is up into 11th. Seth says his game is not working at all, and that might be the end of his session. He's 19th without a time, and the game will not go off of a black screen. Okay, I'm not seeing it right now. Okay, hang on 1 second. Let me look and see. Okay, you would join in a Mercedes? That's my only problem. You're the king of double stacks, and you might double stack Lucid, but I will go find you. Okay, let's actually get back to the action. Doesn't look like anyone has shifted in the top 6. They're all on outlaps. And looks like Yuppie is the one to just move up into P9. Voda has retired, looks like in the pits. We're on board with Matt. I've yet to see a sector split, so let's see if he is on a good lap as Mel retires in 11th. Matt is down 4/10, which would definitely see him up to P9 if he can hang on to this through Sector 3. The top 6 still remain the same as they all are on a lap, and Dave in P7. Let's hope Matt can get out of the way or get through traffic here. He comes across the line in P8. Does one better and drops some time in Sector 3. Crusoe just starting a lap. Hitch as well, but Hitch doesn't start it in time, missing the finish line by only that much. David retires in P6, flipping up a spot. Will Kurtonic be able to dethrone Hitch from his pole position right now? Would need to have about a tenth and a half. Flame retires coach, finishes his lap. Dismal pits, he'll be in 7th. Kryptonic split. He's up a 10th. He would need to have a mega third sector here. Lucid pitting, Cloud behind him. We didn't see what his sector split was. But Kryptonic would need a miracle. As Yuppie beats out Dismal 4P7, Kryptonic to the line. It's not going to be enough. He does add time. Heatley going P2. Cloud staying where he is, even dropping a 10th. Cannot improve, and it doesn't look like Caruso is going to improve either. It looks like he was up 5/10. Does end up only a 10th, but it does not mean anything here. Anime with a 27-3. He is going to dive into the pits, and that is going to do it for this session. Goat has joined for Seth. He's in a Mercedes. And Anime retires and saves us the time it would take to trot around the pits and get wheeled into the garage. But we have less time to talk. So Seth is disqualified. Seth is going to be a disqualified driver at the end of the session. And we can't see anything. Okay, we see it for 1 second. We get flashbanged with it. Looks like it's quite gloomy to start this race. Overcast. So overcast to start this race, and Goat is racing for Mercedes, but will score as an Aston Martin. We're still going to count Seth as a reserve, even though he showed up for 0 second. Well, he did show up, but the screen was black. And I will add full-time drivers for the remainder of the season that actually sign up to show up, but I'm not going to do all these tricks to adding and switching people very, very last minute through qualifying. So this will probably be the last time we see a driver. Yeah, I did. I saw your POV. It was completely black. We've definitely seen a lot of issues with F125 and lobby disconnects. Is it tough? Kind of. You should have probably done a lap on it. See how well you know the track. But yeah, I'm not... Oh. Yeah, it does that too. The game has been DNFing people and just like disconnecting people all the time throughout every tier. So it is just... There are just some connection issues across the board, and it's quite frustrating to deal with, but it's always been that way, so can't complain too much. We've definitely seen worse. We've seen lobbies crash. But yeah, I try to avoid what happened, which like seeing Goat reserve or driving for Mercedes. I try to avoid that just in the case that, you know, there's a safety car, say him and Lucid are next to each other, and then they double stack. then it's kind of unfortunate, and they're not even teammates, so then it's really unfortunate and very interesting to sort out. We just want to avoid any instance where that could happen, so hopefully we don't see any qualms between Goat and Lucid while they are on the same team due to circumstances. So here we go. Ready to start whenever the drivers are, as we are fixated on the pit lane. This is probably the part where I could go over standings and all that, but we don't even get a timer. We'll just hear the beeping eventually. Okay, they already did ready. See, it would be helpful if I could see that timer, but I can't. I can't see anything from the screen. We're going to have a formation lap, and then we are going to be underway here. As you can see, the qualifying grid on your left, there was actually no grid penalties, I don't think. Seems like that's a first for the season. There's our tires. AI Seth starting on softs. A return of Sethbot. I'll tell you right now, he is not on the correct strategy. Every single other driver on mediums, Caruso on the hards. It's interesting because I wouldn't think that every driver would be on the same strategy. I would think there would be some variance between hards and mediums, but that's not what the Tier 1 grid thinks. Obviously, everyone preferring the medium tires here. Let's make sure. Let's do a ghost check on the grid. Hitch is here. Heatley, everyone. Their car isn't grayed out. Looks like everyone is here ready to race. Except Sethbot, who's on softs and 10 miles behind the field. Has been passed by Goat, who's in a Mercedes. Everyone's here except Seth. Oh my goodness, look at all the cars down the road. It's kind of peaceful. This is the part. Whoa, it's showing a 3-stop strategy. Is that what the Sethbot is on? Soft, medium, hard, hard? What in the world? That would be crazy. I don't know if we'll see the 2-stop. But the 4-stop would be even crazier than what was just shown. We'll stay on board with the leaders. You can get quite aggressive into this turn 1, so we'll see how aggressive Heatley is going to be. As we'll switch this to not stops, but position change. If we were sponsored by Real Life, I would mention something about Sky Sports, but we're not. Week 5 underway here in Silverstone. Heatley looks to get a decent start. There's going to be a long side hitch here going into turn 1. He's not going to get the move done, but he did have the line, and he's not going to send one into turn 1. We have a caution, and oh my goodness, what is happening behind here? There is a cluster of cars heading into through Sector 1. The V-Carb teammates side by side. Williams looks to be shoved off there, and Dave, Yuppie, Anime, and Dismal all down a ton of places. Goat only up a spot, and Sethbot all the way in last. Probably will not climb out of that position. The Racing Bull teammates do not care. They said, we are racing for position. There's no papaya rules here at this team. Going side by side throughout the first lap, we see Buddha going down the inside of Cops, forcing Mel off the track, essentially. Mel did not wanting to get in a serious incident, and look at this train here as the drivers in the back are racing each other to get back up through the grid. Look at these trains, and we see a gap between the hard runner of Caruso and the leaders, now getting passed by Josh up into P6. Josh up 5 spots, Buddha up 7 spots. They've been looking great on the start. Someone diving into the pits, that's Caruso, looks to have damage. Unfortunate starting on the hard tires. We've already got a stop here. We know what the tires are. We don't necessarily need position change, but here we go. Both the kicks in great position. Both the Racing Bulls in great position here. Buddha in position to score for his first race. He's been getting better and better ever since taking off all assists, getting some practice in, and he's got himself a gap, and he's in the front train here as we have a caution in the back. Anime looks to have lost the car a bit, and he is going to fall all the way back into 19th. Now in first, Hitch, still not out of DRS. The front DRS train is the top 5 with Flame in P6. 2.5 seconds to make up. He got ahead of Josh. Another small DRS train basically through the entire points, and then the big one all the way at the back from 10th all the way down into pretty much 18th with Sethbot. Lucid in P4, Cloud behind him, not looking to make a move yet. No one looks to be making a move as we see more drivers off the track. And we see maybe a move there from Dismal side by side with Yuppie. After qualifying 7th and 8th, they find themselves battling for 14th. And Dismal is going to get by. So you see the leaders coming through this first sector. This is probably the track that is literally the least likely to see a safety car. I mean, you can see how far the walls are away from this track. It's hard to lose the car on a lot of these straights, and Hitch getting through another DRS straight under no pressure so far from Heatley. As Josh and Flame switch positions, but Josh a little bit off the track here. And this 6th through, I think, 9th is very close. Vovoda trying to get back into that DRS so he can get some help and connect those trains. And look at him go. He is just outside of it right now, looking to find his way back in. If he can ace this middle sector, he is back in the train. Now Squatch is going to have to ace this middle sector to bridge the gap, and he is going to want DRS here. He does for a second. Oh, but Buddha, and Buddha loses it, and we have a safety car. I'm not sure what happened there. Not sure if we're going to be able to see his car. No. I think just lost it at the end of Maggots and Beckett's. And yes, it looks like everyone is going to be two-stopping now as everyone dives into the pits. Except the Racing Bulls. They both stay out. Flame and Matt are going to be 1-2, and Squatch in P3. The only and Sethbot, of course. Why would you pit off the softs? Why would you do that in an early safety car? What a moron clanker. We've still got 19 drivers on the field. Only the drivers that didn't pit are in the top 4. They serve no use. It'll be interesting to see, but everyone's starting on the mediums. The hards may have been the right call for Caruso, but not much that he can do. He had damage and had to box. This would have been great for him to save those hard tires and maybe make a one-stop work, but everyone pitting on the hards definitely going to have to pit again. There's no way that they are going to make these hards last for basically 20 laps around one of the longest tracks on the calendar. There's just no way, but who knows? I've been proven wrong before, been proven wrong many times, but now we see the field shaken up a bit. You can see who stopped and who did not. Anime up into 9th now. Everyone quickly getting rid of those medium tires. As I said, the entire grid except 2 cars starting on the medium tires, so eager to get those off, and the drivers who have not pit have gained a ton of positions, and the drivers who did pit have lost a couple. What a surprise. Safety car is going to continue around one more time, and we do see Anime go into the pits. And he will take the lap fresher tire. Probably rejoin in the back, as well as Caruso. Those were 2 of the drivers down the order a bit that did not take the initial pit. Now they will, and they will probably find themselves in the bottom 2 spots. It's looking like it, and it is. The top 4 did not change their mind after the first lap under safety car, however, and they are all out on those medium tires, maybe trying to make a one-stop work, but will practically have the slower tire throughout the remainder of this stint. Not sure how far the mediums end up degrading. But we'll see what they can do, as maybe Flame will be able to tell Matt, play a little defense for me here. The clean air will work nicely. And if you can back up the field enough, maybe I can give myself enough of a gap, push the pace a little bit, and keep my tires fresh with no dirty air. And maybe, just maybe, be able to hang on to that number 1 spot. Caruso, the last car to catch up to the pack. He's got a full day in front of him for the remainder of this race. Plenty of work to do. We'll see what he can and cannot do. Yuppie's still down in 16th. David, after that bad start, in 15th. The safety car is in this lap. We'll see the positions. We obviously know who stopped and who didn't, and the top 4 obviously up a ton of positions. But even after getting passed by those 4 drivers, Josh Vivoda and Goat all up positions. Coach as well, up 4 spots, but Dave, Yuppie, and Caruso down 9 spots. Caruso with an extra pit stop. See how Flame and Matt coordinate this restart. We'll go on board with Matt just to see if he can keep up with his teammate or if he's going to need to be playing defense. Flame waiting quite a while, but it looks like they got a good restart. And looks like everyone is orderly, as Hitch is probably just going to drive through Seth. Yes, sir, that is exactly what happens. And he is off to chase down these drivers, these top 3 who did not pit during the safety car. Seth will be falling all the way down the field, and Squatch getting a move done on Matt. If Matt was planning on playing defense, he did not play very good defense, as he is already down 2 spots, now having to lift early into this corner. Hitch and Squatch come together, and Hitch is now around the outside. Matt forcing him wide, as you can see on this helicopter cam. Matt and Hitch in a drag race. Matt going to keep the inside, and maybe this was a masterful defense after all, as now everyone goes off the track. And look at behind him, we're still on board with the helicopter, and oh my goodness, we have a double overtake around both sides of Hitch. He's just off the racing line and losing a couple positions here. But what a shot we get from the director cam And what magnificent defense. I was just making fun of Matt for getting passed immediately before even one lap, but all of a sudden he's doing a fine job. Squatch overtakes him, but he shoves Hitch down into 6th, now battling for 7th with Lucid, and Lucid gets the move done but goes off the track. DRS is enabled, and Hitch and Lucid still battling. Hitch down the inside does keep 6th place now, but Lucid making it a pain as he goes for a move down the inside. There's a little bit of contact there, and Cloud is behind watching this battle with interest as Goat now is the one who goes through, and now we have Josh off the track, completely just mowing the grass, but keeping the car going forward and keeping the car straight. More importantly, Matt down 2 spots, can only play defense for so long, and these front 2 did not use that defense that Matt provided very well, as they have not broken out from the pack like they would have imagined. Basically in a DRS train, and Hitch is the one without DRS right now. You can imagine he's going to be pushing for it, as you can see the gap already closing from 1 second, now down to about 7/10. He is moving through this sector, and Matt, the car in front, he's going to want to get this move done as quickly as he can. We have Kryptonic going for a move on Squatch, and he's going to make that look pretty easy. Now I just wonder when Flame and Squatch are going to have to pit off those medium tires, as they are hurting right now, but their battle is not up here. Their battle is just likely going to be with the cars down towards 10th or 11th, looking to probably score some points, as Hitch does get by Matt. Now Matt under attack from Goat. Goat seemingly cutting the corner there from the angle that we saw, and now going down the inside on Matt. Matt just losing spots here, and look at everyone behind him eager to get around. As you have Cloud and Lucid Alls. Kryptonic does make a move for the lead, but not fully, as Flame's looking to defend here. Squatch has lost another place to Heatley as well. Now side by side going into Cops. Is Flame going to be able to stay down the inside? No, he's not. And they're going to file in through Cops. No contact made. But right behind him is Flame, and he's going to take a little bit of a better line here. But now you can see how much different the grip levels are between the fresh hard tires and the old medium tires here, as Squatch losing another position as well, but with the DRS not going to lose too much. But obviously his battle is not with any of these drivers, and we see Heatley go into P2 around Flame, and Hitch is the next car up, as we see down towards the back of the field. Anime in 18th, Mel in 17th. We can go on board with some of them and see how close the battles are. Looks like we've got a bit of a train back here, but Caruso up into 16th, Mel behind him in 17th. Anime in 18th, looking to try and stay on the back of Mel and keep that DRS, as David and Yuppie both qualifying much higher than their positions right now. We see Hitch, it seems like once per DRS, one of the cars that did not pit for hard tires is just losing one place at a time. Cloud and Goat by Squatch, and Hitch by Flame this lap, but again is looking to fight, but Goat goes by on much faster tires at this stage of the race. Squatch and Flame going to have to think about when they want to pit and give everyone behind them 2 positions. Goat with the first time penalty of the session, 3-second warning for corner cutting. That'll be an interesting development here, as we have a caution, and Flame, we didn't see it on the onboard, another safety car. I wouldn't say it bails out the medium runners because one of them just died, but the other one now comes into pit. And will they be able to make a one-stop last? I have no idea. Will the hard runners be able to make it to the end? I have no idea. This has been chaotic. Matt on the restart as well. Whoa, Yuppie! Yuppie gets disqualified for what? Oh my goodness. Chaos. Blocking the pit lane. He was probably just going into the pits. Maybe he spun into the pit lane. I don't even know what that is about. But Yuppie has been abruptly disqualified down in P20. And the final four, Sethbot finally pitting off the softs. The final four are all out of the race just like that. What a crazy turn of events. I don't even understand what happened here. Let's see if we can invite our friend Yuppie into the party here. Let's see if he joins, and maybe he can give us some insight on what in the world just happened. We didn't catch any of that on camera. We didn't see the DNF. We didn't see the disqualification. We haven't actually seen much this session. As the cars are slowly going through the safety car, we'll see if Yuppie is able to join the party and maybe talk us through what happened. See Caruso pitting again. Cap sent a party invite to Yuppie, but I don't know if he's in the mood to have an interview. But this race is quite a disaster for him. We'll see the position changes here as very much back and forth here. Goat up 16 spots after starting in last, but a 3-second time penalty is going to hurt him. We'll see if Yuppie will join the party. Oh, and Yuppie has in fact joined the party. So we saw on the live stream that you were disqualified for blocking the pit lane. Take us through what in the world just happened.
Yeah, I was behind my teammate. I'm not sure what he was doing. He was going into the pit lane at the same time I was. He was the car in front. He was at the pit line entry, or pit entry line, excuse me, and seemingly stopped as well. And I didn't want to goes through him. I didn't know if that was going to happen or if it was actually going to make contact with him, so I just waited for him to cross. But while waiting, I got disqualified.
So it sounds like you just kind of stopped on pit lane, and of course the game disqualified you immediately because it hates when a car is stopped in the vicinity of the pit lane. We've actually seen drivers that have spun out in turn one and their car was sideways right by the pit exit and were disqualified immediately. So it wouldn't be the first time in Silverstone, but maybe take us through your race. I mean, it looked pretty promising in qualifying, but what do you think happened in those first couple laps?
Yeah, qualifying was really good. Silverstone, I'm pretty quick on, so it's a shame. But yeah, qualifying P7, one of my better ones, and then the race, what was it, turn one into two. I think I made contact with Dismal. He came over. I think he may have gotten pinched by the car outside of him. I don't know who that was, but he kind of came over to me and hit me on my side pod there, and that was that. Both of us fell back, and then it was pretty much race over after that.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely seemed like some cars got in an incident. We saw about 5 cars down all the way from the back that qualified around that mid-pack, so definitely unlucky for a couple of you guys, and Buddha as well, being, in a point-scoring position and then going to the DNF and then causing that first safety car, but then very unlucky on the second safety car to see another car just randomly disqualified. So unlucky for you, Yuppie, but we know that you'll be back stronger, and hopefully we'll see you back next week in qualifying higher than P7.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep, have a good night. So we're back into the race. The safety car is in. We appreciate Yuppie taking the time to join our party and have the opportunity to do a little live interview, and we appreciate the input from the drivers. And unfortunate for him that his session started so well with one of his highest qualifying positions of the season, but then ends so abruptly a couple laps later. We've now hit half race distance, and Kryptonic now in the lead. Let's throw on the tire life as we do see 9-lap Old Hards. Will they be able to make it to the end, or will they need another stop? I assume that they're planning on making it to the end, but it's going to be a uphill battle for them. We'll see if the drivers who pit, Squatch going to be leading that charge. 3-lap Old Hards. We'll see if they can make up enough ground and have enough life in their tires to come back on all these drivers on 9-lap Old Hards. The point scoring positions right now are all drivers who did not pit on that second safety car, but everyone behind has pit except Sethbot on the worst strategy of all time, an Anime in P17 with a 7-lap Old Hards, as he does pick up a 3-second time penalty. And don't forget about Goat's time penalty, which will drop him a couple spots from 4th place. But everyone playing nice in single file down the straight, but Dismal looks like he made a move there, and Caruso on Mel up into 14th. The Haas drivers both looking to score, as anyone could fall out of this top batch of drivers, all on harder tires, and tires that are going to fall off a lot faster. But they're going to need to bridge a DRS gap now, as Coach a second away from Josh, who is a second away from Dismal, likely going to extend that gap. And if these drivers on the quicker tires cannot get by soon enough, they might have quite the time, making up about 4 seconds in a couple laps probably from that DRS train. But Kryptonic still in the lead, Hitch in 3rd, looking to make a move as they're all being pretty civil up here. Goat in P4. Cloud behind him. He's had quite the quiet race here in P5. So we see them all take the high-speed Cops Corner. To be careful not to get a warning through that corner. It's probably the main one that everyone is piling up. Track limit warnings and corner cutting, whatever you like to call that. And we see everyone getting eager to get by Dave as well as Coach, and Coach with no DRS is going to be an absolute victim here of all the cars behind. And as he drifts outside, it looks like he's going to be overtaken by a couple cars here, might be both the Haas drivers actually, as Caruso around the outside finds his way through, and now the Haas drivers see themselves in 10th and 11th. Will they be friendly, or will they be battling for position behind Dave? Dave is that first car in that different group of drivers, and almost avoiding action needed to be taken from Caruso to avoid his teammate there, and now puts him off the line, and he loses 2 spots pretty fast on what he just made up. Now might be getting a position on Matt. Look at side-by-side racing. What action down here, as look at the Ferrari laid on the brakes there. That's a Voda on Mel, making the move and making it stick through this roundabout corner. Caruso gaining a place back on Matt, and now looking for a place on Coach, who is on those 11-lap hards, and you can see how quickly he was able to shoot up. And now Coach completely losing out here, might be losing another position to Matt, and quickly falling off here, being fed to the wolves on the tires that they did not pit off on the second safety car. Let's see if Squatch can get by Dave here. No DRS for Dave. Makes the move to the inside here and is going to make the move stick. Will Caruso see an opening? He goes off just like Dave and loses a bit of time, as looks to me that Coach is going into the pits. And he is done with these old hard tires, and he is ready to put something else on. And we'll see who can make this one-stop work, as the top 8 still out on these old tires. But again, like I said, the newer tire group is going to have to bridge the DRS gap, and Squatch now 1.8 from 3 seconds away from Josh. Maybe a mistake was made, but Dismal also 3 seconds, so he's going to have another gap that he has to bridge eventually. Caruso fighting Dave around the outside here with the extra grip. Might be trying a switchback, or might just be trying to get the power down and power around the outside there. The Haas team now in point scoring position, both of them. We'll see if they can keep that up. They are on, I would say, the optimal strat for the end of this race, but we'll see if they can keep charging in front, and we'll see if David can recover any points or any positions as well, as again, the top 7 playing nice right now, all in the DRS. Kryptonic leading, looking for retribution after Brazil, where he was pole and he was leading for so long until an unfortunately timed safety car. Now on the other side of that, where some safety cars have helped him take the lead here, and some great defense from Matt has shown him through. And now Hitch stuck behind in third. Heatley serves as the buffer between Kryptonic and Hitch, but Heatley just as able to attack as Hitch is. All on the same lap tires, and again, we're seeing this gap come down. It's 4 seconds between Dismal and Lucid. Josh hanging around in the DRS, and the Haas flip positions here. Caruso going into 9th, Squatch back into 10th. Will they fight too much? Doesn't look like it. So looks like Squatch wants to keep the DRS, and David behind out of the DRS. The Haas drivers might be able to break DRS behind and solo or duo. They can be a duo trying to gain as many points as they can, as Coach does pick up a 3-second time penalty. Josh, again, sticking right behind Dismal, and the top 6 sticking with each other. Now Dismal is going to be the leader of this newfound train, as both the Haas drivers now in DRS, and we can see Matt and David going at it here down into Sector 3, into a tight corner. Sethbot pits, the worst strategy of all time. And now David is going to create an even larger gap between the Haas pair and the back of the field. the non-point scorers, but it looks like Josh and Dismal might be fading fast into those group of hungry drivers who are looking for points. Josh being one of them, he's looking for his first points of the season, but he might not be on the best strategy as Dismal now 5 seconds behind Lucid, and look at how close Caruso is. Now all of a sudden, he's right behind here fighting for position. 6-lap younger tires, and there's still 8 laps to go. Again, around one of the longest circuits. 8 laps is an eternity here in Silverstone as we see the drivers come through into Maggots and Beckett's, and Dismal not going to have DRS. We'll see if Josh is looking to distance himself here from the Haas pair that will be eager to attack as soon as they can to get by. It looks like Caruso has quite the run out of Maggots and Beckett's and does go down the inside. A little bit of contact there, but no one losing the car too much, and Caruso forcing his way by Josh, and now Squatch right on the behind of Josh looking to get his way through, and now David does pit and he does cede all those positions as Hitch does pick a time to attack Heatley here at the top, and we'll see them battle side by side. Not much room given by Heatley going defensive, and this is exactly what Kryptonic loves to see. He's going to be doing all that he can to break the DRS. Heatley barely holding onto the DRS, and look at Goat coming through on the inside as they make a little bit of contact here, forcing Hitch wide, and now Goat going for a switchback. They're playing bumper cars side by side. Hitch's driver throwing his hand up, and Hitch is now going to power through. Goat doesn't look like the normal Goat that we see in the McLaren or in the Mercedes car. While we're watching that battle, Caruso did get by Dismal, or maybe Dismal not putting up much of a fight and just letting him go because he knows his battle is not with Caruso and he can't afford to lose time to the rest of the drivers that are on 6-lap younger tires as Caruso goes flying off the track, but keeping about at the same gap. Not sure if the game actually is going to penalize him or not, but look at these gaps now, almost a second, as we do see Squatch and Josh going at it. Squatch around the outside again with those younger tires is going to make it work. Josh defending still and keeping the position for now, maybe getting a little loose. Will we see Squatch be able to do anything with it? No. But up at the front, Kryptonic now 2 seconds away of Hitch. It might be looking dire straits for him trying to get by. He's got the DRS, but now he's got to make up so much time to get in the DRS. Heatley didn't even get by Heatley yet with the DRS and everything. Heatley now forced around the outside, maybe looking for a switchback, but isn't going to find it. Goat maybe making a little bit of contact with Heatley. These two are still battling down here. Squatch and Josh after the DRS zone. Squatch looking for the up and under, and he's going to find it. What a pretty methodical move there from Squatch to get by and to lead into Cop's corner. Josh not happy about it, staying right on the back of Squatch, but now as they take the first corner under that dirty air from Squatch, he maybe doesn't have the most traction. And we see Goat is now off the track. Not sure what happened there, but Caruso, this is going to net him a position. And Goat now, with the 3-second time penalty, might even lose a couple more spots. We'll see if he has damage or not. It definitely looks like it, and he has to dive into the pits now for the Aston Martin Mercedes partnership that we've seen. So Goat now out of contention in the top couple cars with a damaged wing. Hitch 2.8 back. This looks like Kryptonic is going to get the job done. We see all the drivers making the move on Goat, who had to pit, and we'll see if Squatch can catch Dismal or not towards the end. We'll see also Caruso if he can catch up to this pack, because now Lucid has a gap. He's on his own island, and he is being fed into the wolves again. on these younger tires, and Caruso doing the three-stop, quote-unquote, three-stop, after stopping on lap 1 and then stopping like 10 times under the safety car. He's somehow found his way up into P6, a miracle result, and look at him just rowing Lucid back in. Anime does get another 3-second time penalty, and it'll be interesting to see if any of these top drivers end up with a time penalty or not, because that would impact the race severely. But the way it looks right now, with 5 laps to go, Kryptonic in the lead by 3 seconds. You can see Hitch off in the distance. Won't be checking your mirrors yet, because Hitch has a long way to go. But this might be the end of Hitch's winning streak at 4 races to open the season, and Kryptonic looking to punch back after all these weeks, after taking pole at Brazil. Maybe looking for something to go his way, as Voivode gets a 3-second time penalty, and that's going to hurt his campaign to nag the last point away from all these other drivers down the order. Heatley staying in the DRS. Cloud as well hasn't had the most entertaining of races, but has stayed consistent and is in P4, has not lost the DRS, and has made up from all the mistakes behind. Caruso now only 3/10 behind Lucid, is going to be able to attack down this DRS straight. He's going for the move, most likely down the inside here. Lucid giving it up, not battling too much. Lucid probably hoping for the DRS from the Haas driver, who now sees himself top 5 and is the only one on this new strategy. Will he be able to make up that much time? Basically a second a lap to maybe battle for a podium position. It feels insane to say from the race that we've seen out of him. Squatch behind Dismal too, who has lost a ton of time to the top drivers, and Josh has done a good job to keep within Squatch's DRS to help him fend off the rest of the drivers looking to score his first points of the season. I probably said that so many times, but it is a big deal in Tier 1 just to get that monkey off your back, the 0-point mark, to see a number on the board. It's just a good feeling for these drivers who put in a lot of practice. You have to learn all no assists, and they are working hard for every position here, not just in the Drivers' Championship, which scores the top 10, but in the President's Championship, where they have a 1.5 times multiplier from every single position. So first through 20th, all scores, and it scored more, and it scored across every tier. So they're looking to represent their team throughout the Can-Am community here, as Matt gets up into 10th above Voivode with that 3-second time penalty. Goat sets the fastest lap on the medium tires. Not a surprise there. Down in 13th, a 16-second gap between him and Mel. Don't think he's going to be able to catch up here. Dismal is the one leading this train, and we'll see if he hemorrhages more positions here or if he's able to fend off everyone, as Squatch would be the driver to attack, but has not made up much more than the gap that he's at right now, which is about under a half second. But look at Josh. He's maybe found a runner's high on these 19-lap-old tires, as now Caruso gets a 3-second time penalty, which isn't going to help him get a podium, but shouldn't make much of an impact as the cards unfold right now. If the race ended now, he would be 4.5 seconds ahead, so it should not be much of an impact, but that is going to majorly impact whether he can get past Cloud or not. Most likely not, unless he shunts him off the road and gains 3 seconds in 2 laps. We see a pit from, it looks like, Dismal ahead, who probably knew he was going to give up all these positions behind to these 4 drivers, but then gets a speeding in the pit lane penalty. Voivode picks up another penalty, and these penalties are going to majorly impact the ends of these races. Dismal might already be falling down almost the entire order, so 10 seconds might not be the end of the world for him. But for Voivode, 6 seconds, losing him a position and basically preventing him from making any other passes in this session. We go back to the tires. Squatch, Matt, and Voivode all on the lower life tires here. 14 laps compared to 20 lap old tires. Josh is going to be struggling, but Josh has been able to find a second wind on these tires, maybe saving some battery, and was able to get the move done on Squatch, who's maybe lost a step on these newer tires and maybe has been pushing them a little bit harder than the other drivers, but he's kept ahead of basically what you would call his classmates there on the 14-lap-old bunch, and they've been able to stay ahead. I wonder if we'll see any punctures out of these 20-lap-old tires. I wonder what the percentages are on these tire lives, and if they're probably well over 60 or 70%. 21-lap-old hard tires. We're going to end with 23-lap-old, and as we move off this battle, it starts to heat up. Now, side by side, Josh with a bit of a lock-up, Squatch looking through, but look at how close these drivers are, just playing bumper cars, not being able to get any traction on these old hard tires, and just trying to battle as much as they can for every position. Dismal down in 15th on the soft tire will probably be in position to set the fastest lap and snag an extra point away from anyone. It would be awesome to be tracking the battle between Caruso and Cloud, but a 3-second time penalty majorly hurts his chances, and unless he sees a penalty in front of him right now, there's probably no way that he does end up in front of any of these drivers. And Cloud, notorious for keeping it on track and keeping it consistent, like we mentioned before. So he will most likely keep that 4th position unless we do see a penalty. We're going to stay with this battle for 7th place. This has been an absolute dogfight here between Josh, Squatch, Matt, and Vivoda. Maybe on board with Vivoda and see some of the chaos that a driver would be seeing as we will start the final lap. Kryptonic rounding the final couple corners with a 2.5-second gap, but on the final lap here, again, will we see a puncture from any of these drivers? What are the DEGs looking like? Who knows? As we do see a move from Squatch around the outside, getting enough grip here, and will he be able to make it stick on the final lap as we see another penalty for Anime come in P17, and Dismal getting another penalty, probably pushing his lap for the fastest lap. Squatch leads this pack here into the final lap, and we'll see if he can hold everyone off in the DRS zones. Does he have enough ERS to hold this train back, as Lucid looks to be going pretty slow here and might be in the window for them to fight, as Dismal does set the fastest lap. Maybe not in the window now, 2 seconds, quite the gap here. Caruso does get within DRS on the final lap, but again, that penalty is going to kill his chances at maybe seeing a podium. But here we go, as the leaders go through Maggots and Beckett's, and Squatch looks to be winning this battle for 7th, now becoming a battle for 8th, with Josh trying to hold off Matt and Vivoda, who Vivoda does have a penalty, but we'll ride on board with Kryptonic as he is looking to be the first driver to end the winning streak. He just needs to keep it intact, keep it across the line. No penalties here, no questions about it. Kryptonic with his first win in Can-Am history, and the first different winner that we've seen in Tier 1. Hitch not far behind in P2, keeping his podium streak alive at 5 races to start the season. Heatley in 3rd, Cloud in 4th, Caruso in 5th, driving out Lucid, who was in 6th. Lucid coming across the line in 6th, Squatch right behind him in 7th, and now again this battle for 8th. Matt wins it. Josh and Vivoda to the line, but Vivoda with the penalty is not going to get the position here. And Goat in now 12th. Mel close to the points, but P11. Dave in 13. Dismal in 14th after his race completely took a nosedive after maybe being on the wrong strategy. Seth Bott in 14th, but he's a disqualification. Coach does get the spot over Dismal, and we see Anime come across the line in what's going to be 16th place. What an entertaining race plenty of battles all throughout the field, and it wasn't even the leaders battling. It was those middle positions for points that are just crazy battles. With some of the DNFs that we saw, it meant that they were battling for a couple more points than they probably usually would, with Goat and Dismal towards the back of the field, Flame with a DNF as well. As we see the gaps here and the penalties, Kryptonic pulling out the win by 4 seconds. A very orderly front bunch, aside from Goat getting some wing damage. And as we see the gaps, we will check the race director as well. Couple collisions on the first lap and a bunch more warnings. As we see, let's just check one thing to see if anyone was close to getting a penalty in front of Caruso, and that is exactly what I mean. We did not see a Cloud, a single warning from Cloud. He was not sweating Caruso coming up, and with that 3 seconds, he would have been only 3/10 behind Cloud. Definitely would have been a battle for fourth, but unfortunate for Caruso to pick up that extra penalty after pushing so hard on those newer hards. It was awesome to see the different strategies and to see how they played out and to see how people played the strategies. Tier 1 has been so used to for the past couple seasons, just no safety car. The predictable strategy plays out, but they've been thrown some curveballs every session with a couple safety cars almost every night. So 2 safety cars tonight in a place where you would almost never expect a safety car definitely changed the strategies for all the drivers involved and ended up ruining some races, but making some other races legendary, as Caruso basically going from P16 down to dead last in the first stint and then fighting his way all the way back up into P5. What a result for him. And what a result for the Haas team, scoring double points. The Racing Bulls looked in position, but Flame was a DNF there. Sounds like an incident. Yuppie was in a good position. Yuppie and Dismal qualifying 7th and 8th and finding themselves in an unfortunate situation. But again, that opened the door for drivers like Josh to score his first points of the season after one of his better qualifying sessions, if I remember correctly. But we will be headed into next week. I will look up the track right now and see where we're going. But this was the end of week 5. We'll be going to Jeddah in week 6. And I'm not going to say who, but I know one driver that cannot wait to get to Jeddah and show off his pace at one of his favorite tracks, if not his favorite tracks, not one of, I'm pretty sure his favorite track, number 1. And we'll see how that all plays out on the streets of Jeddah next week. If you're watching this live or watching this in the future, I hope you have enjoyed, and I hope you have a great rest of your night, morning, or afternoon. Hopefully I'll post this on YouTube a little sooner so that if you want to watch it back on not the worst VOD channel or the worst VOD platform of all time on Twitch, you can watch it back on YouTube, and I will try and do that tomorrow morning for all the people that don't want to stay up until midnight and watch all the replays. But I appreciate everyone who tuned in and everyone who participated, and I hope that you enjoyed the race, whether you drove in it or whether you're watching it, and enjoyed the drama. And congrats to Kryptonic on his first win, as well as ending Hitch's 4-race win streak. Hopefully we see some epic battles between those two in the future. Again, have a great night, and we hope to see you in Jeddah next week.